Hi, I'm Erin with Bailey's Blossoms, here to show you how to make your basic no-sew tutu. For this demonstration today, we're going to be using the Cotton Candy Do-It-Yourself Tutu Kit that can be found on Bailey'sBlossoms.com as well as Bailey's Blossoms on Etsy. And it comes with the following 4 rolls of tulle. These are 6-inch by 25-yard rolls, as well as about a yard of 1.5-inch grosgrain ribbon, a cut of 1/2-inch braided elastic, which is my preferred type of elastic, as well as a ready-made boutique bow. The first thing you're going to need to bring to the table is a measuring tape. Now I already know that I'm making this tutu for my 3-year-old daughter who has a waist circumference of 20 inches. Make sure that you have that measurement for your subject or model. And you're going to take your elastic piece and you're going to stretch it out, not to its full extent. You want it still to have a little bounce to it. And you're going to stretch it to the size that she is. For me it's 20 inches. And then add another 2 to 3 inches so that she has additional room to breathe and grow, as well as you're going to lose a little bit of space when you overlap that piece to sew it. And you can either sew it with a machine or you can sew it by hand with the needle and thread until it's strong enough that you can pull on it without it popping or breaking at all. Next is the tulle. And instead of unrolling and measuring out each piece of tulle every single time, I'm going to show you a trick that can save you a lot of time because I know that that is a priceless commodity. Now I'm going to be using, I'm going to be making my tutu for my daughter 10 inches long for her size. So I got this plate here and I have it pre-rolled, but I'll show you how I did it. This is a plate that's about 10 inches in length here. You can use a pan, a book, whatever you have, 9 by 13 pans, take away the guesswork as well. And you can take your tulle, you start at the top and you wrap it around, you roll it up the entire way until the entire thing is rolled up, like this one is here. And then you make one solid cut straight across. And you have some perfectly uniform, double the size. These are 20-inch strips now. Because I want to make a 10-inch tutu, I want the strips to be 20 inches. If you want to make 8-inch tutu, make sure the strips are 16. For 12 inches, 24, etc., etc. Next part is the tricky part, and it's making these knots here. To make the knots, we're going to take not just one strip of tulle, but 2 strips for every knot. I gave myself a little head start here so you don't have to watch the entire process. You're going to take it and you're going to fold it directly over the middle on top of your thumb to make sure that it's even at the bottom, or at least close to. Hold it out in front of the elastic and pull it forward. Put the tulle up through the back and down through the front so it looks like a necktie when you pull it through. You don't want the knots to be incredibly tight to the point that it doesn't matter how full you make your tutu because you'll always see that elastic. You also don't want them to be so loose that they're going to unravel at any point. Again, 2 strips, always 2. Put it over the top of your thumb, pull it out, push it up through the back, down through the front, make those nice even neckties. If you see any rips, holes, or tears, or anything that's uneven in your tulle, don't worry about it. If the strips aren't completely even, it's not a big deal. Tulle is incredibly forgiving and you will not be able to tell by the time you are done, even if there is a huge gash in it. That's one of the wonderful things about tulle. Now, every time that you think that it looks like it's done, take it off, and I'm using any type of cylinder will work. I'm using a formula can. You can use a peanut butter jar. You can use a vase that's upside down. Anything that's circular, any type of can or jar will work great to secure this. Make it much easier. But then when you think that it looks like it's done, and I'll show you in just a second, it's about done for me. But I want you to take it off of the cylinder, like so, and stretch it out. And here I've already shimmied mine over on this side so it looks perfect. But on this side, when I stretch it out, you can see that elastic popping through. And in that case, you're going to shimmy those down just a little bit, not so that they're completely crunched together, but to the point where that when you pull it out, you see a uniform, tiny bit of elastic in between. You don't want to see any big gaps. And then you want to just continue to fill it in. Only a few more knots away from this one being finished. These are my last two here. One. And two. Now that I know how full I want my tutu to be, I'm going to lay it nice and, first I'm actually going to make sure, because there is a little gap there, so I'm just going to kind of spread them out and make sure that those gaps are uniform throughout it. Because you don't want it to only be have an elastic pull in one area. You want it to be pretty even throughout as much as you can. Oh, that's good. Now I'm going to lay it nice and flat down here and brush it out with your fingers with the knots facing up. After you've done that, I prefer to completely flip it over like so. The reason for this, and brush it out again, is that those knots, depending on how experienced you are, can look a little bit sloppy. And I prefer the uniform look of the underside of the knots to be on top of the tutu. So once it's all completely combed through with your fingers, you can take your pair of scissors, press it down, and trim it all the way around the edges. Start small on this. You can always take away more, but you cannot give it back once it's cut off. But look for the most full section and tend to go with that. So you do this, all these long edges get cut off. They're not even there. Nobody will notice that they ever were. It gives it a nice finished polished look. Okay. See how much that cleans that up there. And now the last thing that you need to do is take your ribbon, create a bow, and adjust it to however big or small you want it to be. And get a little bit of hot glue on the back side of that bow. And if you can see through the tool on your elastic, if you can see any where you sewed the piece together at all. I'm trying to find mine, I can't see it, so that's good. But if you can, that is a perfect spot to put this bow on top of. I'm just going to stick mine right here, hold it just for a few seconds. After this, you can trim up those edges, or the edges of the ribbon, and then take a lighter or a match and heat seal the bottoms by running the heat along the edges to kind of melt it together, and that will keep it from fraying. And there you have a perfect no-sew tutu.